Hello everybody and welcome to another edition of the Magic Show. We kick off covering the last few bits on Conspiracy. Now, as I spoke about this last time, Conspiracy is a really interesting multiplayer draft set created by Wizards. It's also weird. It's hard to argue the Wizards didn't try their hardest here with multiplayer mechanics and juiced it with some really sweet cards, except that's kind of the point I want to make. With Brainstorm and Swords to Plowshares and Exploration and Misdirection and the Legacy-bound Council's Judgment, this is a set that just has things you want to open, collect, and treasure. And being such an oddball set that requires such a specific set of circumstances, that is, you need to find 8 people who all want to draft and draft multiplayer, no less, I want to look into my crystal ball here and note that I feel this is a perfect recipe for cash dollars. Why? Because weird sets that have really unique hooks with a bunch of sweet expensive legacy cards are not going to be as popular as big sets with splashy standard defining rares, and that's by definition. So for all those who like to dabble in ye old magic finance and plan ahead, pick up a box or 3 of Conspiracy and let's talk in a few years. I mean, when it's long out of print and all those foils are stupid expensive, you'll be glad you did. Anyway, let's talk about Magic Core Set 2015, or as I like to call it, what hook does Wizards have this time? For M14, it was all Chandra. Chandra. That girl was everywhere. Look out, it's a Chandra in the bushes. Ignite your spark. Except, not too much, keep it to yourself. Only you can prevent forest fires started by sparks from Planeswalkers. And so when Wizards does this, and they hype the big cool Planeswalker from the new set, it better be damn good. And Chandra Power Master was good. Damn good. I mean, she sees a little legacy play, right? That's good. Saw a little bit of standard love too? Sure. But worth a whole campaign around her? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I think Wizards is in this weird position of having to hype the new core set and trying to theme it around a singular character or a pivotal moment in the story, and then balancing all that against the realities of cards needing to not be overpowered. I mean, think about it. What's the narrative if Chandra Pyromaster was so overpowered it either ran rampant on standard or was ultimately banned? What type of excitement would you have for this apparently black Garrett coming in M15? See? That's what I'm saying. Wizards is damned if they do, or if they don't. So, what now? I'll tell you what now. Crunching rock god guitars, that's what. Yeah, party all night, planeswalk all day. That'll show 'em hunt bigger game, punk, because Garrick's hunting you. And of course, they had to end with a nice, juicy splatter. Tasty. But flashy commercials don't get me excited. Magic cards get me excited, so let's chat. First, the caveat that must come whenever discussing Duels of the Planeswalkers spoilers versus Magic 2015 spoilers. These are based on video game screenshots and whatnot, and not all Duels 2015 cards will be in Magic 2015, whatever. So let's talk about what we do know. First up, Titans are coming back. Well, Souls of Plains or whatever, but for all intents and purposes, Titans. 6 mana 6/6s that show people who was boss. The original had incredibly powerful enter the battlefield and attack triggers. They debuted in M11, promptly took over the standard metagame, and then they reprinted them in M12 because that was a real great idea, Wizards, and made everybody hate them for a good solid year. But seriously, Soul of Zendikar is sweet. This guy has reach, which is important in a world full of Stormbreath dragons, and an ability that can be both activated while on the battlefield or while dead. Both of these are fairly excellent. Why? Because value, that's why. You always get something, even if it's a counterspell from your opponent, leaving you with a single activation to make it work. Soul of Ravnica is the blue Titan in M15, and who likes drawing cards? I like drawing cards. And no matter if it's alive or dead, you're paying 5 at instant speed, no less, and drawing cards equal to the colors you control. And for what it's worth, these guys aren't as overpowering as the Titans, at least they're not on the surface. Infernal Titan and Primeval Titan were just so much better than what you could be doing at 6 mana in that environment. And I think these are a little bit tempered. Having to pay 6 and then 5 more means you spent 11 mana to get those cards out of Solar Ravnica or that 3/3 out of the Zendikar Titan. But value is as value does, and these guys have it. Next up, we have Siege Dragon, or also known as having all of the walls your opponents control play a little game of hide and go Siege Dragon yourself. Seriously, there are 5 walls in Standard, and they're all crap. What the hell is this guy doing? Anyway, the returning mechanic for M15 is Convoke, and as such, we get some sweet Convoke cards like Seraph of the Masses. Sure, it looks like it costs $1 million for a 1/1, but context is everything. With just 3 other creatures out, it's a somewhat cheaper Sarah Angel, a first pick in almost any limited format she's in, and with 4 other creatures, it starts to get real unfair. Phyto Titan is hilarious. Why? Because it's a quintessential bad rare. But dude, you say, it's a 7/2 that never dies. Well, as we found with plenty of creatures and enchantments before it, never dies doesn't mean much to Magic. And if this guy were ever actually a problem, we have both Deathrite Shaman and Scavenging Ooze along with Banishing Light and Attention Sphere for a good long while. See what I'm saying? Bad. Reclamation Sage may be the most important card spoiled so far. Hosing them enchantments and leaving behind a 2/1 is a wonderful thing for just 3 mana, and while Harmonic Sliver was awesome back in the day, it's about time we got the upgrade. Triplicate Spirits Wizards, 3 dudes, seriously? Yes, this send up to the classic Spectral Procession wasn't missed by me, being the same converted mana cost, and with enough Convoke, it could be even cheaper. I dig it. Cruel Sadist is for real, peeps. This girl may look innocuous, but given just a few turns, this thing can start chewing up creatures left and right. While it may only rule M15 limited, it will rule it mightily. Speaking of ruling, Goblin Rabble Master is awesome, while Legacy Goblins really needs a better answer to Stoneforge Mystic and Batterskull than really anything else. I'll take this guy who seems completely nutso with Goblin Warchief and friends, and if not, still a hell of a card, giving you a minimum of 4 power of guys attacking for just 3 mana, going up exponentially from there. Genesis Hydra is an awesome Magic card. Take your Genesis Wave, add a little freaky creature in there, and boom, got yourself a Magic card. This one was designed by George Fan, the Plants vs. Zombies guy, and I think that's cool. Obviously, he designed an awesome plant creature, but he's not alone. In the Arcana, WotC spoiled that they had a whopping 14 cards designed by other people in M15. 15, as it were, if you count Waste Not, that was designed by the community vote. My question is, how many times are we running this back? I mean, it's a great gimmick for sure, but a gimmick nonetheless. I, for one, feel like this is awesome as long as it only happens once. For M16, we should, not do this. Some of my favorite core set cards are those that do one thing incredibly well or efficient in a manner we've never seen before. Now, we've got Disfigure, and it's seen a lot of play. We have Dismember. It's very similar, but what about Ulcerate? Yeah, -3/-3 for a single mana, but at what cost? Unfortunately, with the power and influence that Corsair Crewfix is having on Modern and Standard alike, it's hard to argue that Ulcerate will be doing any major work for a while. Bummer, but I love sweet, straightforward cards and abilities as moving the numbers around continues to be interesting. The last few bits I'll touch on are some blue cards. The first being Mercurial Pretender. Now that's a sweet take on clone. It felt like for a while they were going cheaper and cheaper on what and how you can clone things, and now you bump to the original mana cost plus 1 more, and you can return it to your hand as a bonus. This will be great in casual decks and is sure to rock limited. And speaking of casual, how sweet is whatever this person's name is, Master Polymorphist? I'm going to call her Sally because that sounds neat and I have the slightest idea where this art actually came from. Anyway, old Sally here expounds on the polymorph spells we've seen recently, including Mass Polymorph from M11 that saw about 3 seconds of standard play, and the other recent send-up, Journey into Nyx Rare Polymorphous Rush. It's nice to see Wizards realizing that polymorphing doesn't actually hurt anything, isn't constructive viable without an incredibly weird set of circumstances like printing Zodiac Cavern and Emrakul in the same standard format, and it's incredibly fun. But the best part about all these spoilers is that we haven't even officially began M15 previews yet. Core sets are Wizards' ability to bring back an old beloved mechanic, aka for the love of God, would you please reprint Court of Calling? Have you seen his price tag recently? And it's also their ability to shake up the metagame in whatever fashion they desire. And as for me, I'll be right here waiting, right next to you guys. So until next time, Magic players, this is Evan Irwin, tapping the cards so you don't have to.
I always like the fatties.